everyone. I'm Kimberly Jacobs, and you're watching Maximo TV. Tonight, I'm in Hollywood at the world-famous Grauman's Chinese Theater for the premiere of Raiders of the Lost Ark, The Adaptation. I talked to Eric Zala, Chris Strampolis, and Eli Roth, so let's see what they had to say. So what did Raiders of the Lost Ark mean to you as a kid?
It's the perfect adventure film. I mean, lightning in a bottle. I didn't know that movies could produce so much giddy excitement and just wanted to inhabit that world. I think that's really kind of what set it off.
So it started off as a comic book and kids meeting on the back of the bus. How can you explain the experience it's turned into?
It's taken on a life completely on its own. I mean, was something that was born out of a fantasy, just, wanted to wear the hat, wear the jacket, and playing Indiana Jones has taken us into a whole new direction in our lives. It's filling theaters around the country, and we're doing interviews at the Man's Chinese Theater, so it's pretty strange.
In recent years, there's been a lot of superhero films that have come about. Do you think there's still a place for Indiana Jones?
Definitely. I think it's Raiders screened recently at the ArcLight, a 25-year-old film by that point, sold out, and very few new films do that. I think it's more than shown the test of time. Certainly for us, it was the only film that we'd want to spend 7 years of our life remaking. So yeah, Indiana Jones is for the ages.
And look behind you. The Line, and also Indy 4 comes out in just a few days. I think Indiana Jones is alive and well. How
excited are you for the new film?
When I first saw the poster and the shot of Indy, of Harrison in that familiar costume, I was a 12-year-old kid again. It was direct spinal tap directly into my childhood. I'm going to be there May 22nd.
Same feeling. Yeah, I mean, I thought that I might have gotten over it, but yeah, when I saw that first shot and Harrison in the costume again, I thought, oh man, I'm so excited. I can't wait. Sure.
It's still there.
Yeah, it's still there.
And with the phenomenon of amateur and fan filmmaking, what do you think this brings to the art of filmmaking?
Oh, wow. Well, certainly putting the technology in the hands of people where they can make their own tributes, I guess, is certainly an exciting thing. We couldn't have anticipated YouTube and all the fan film movement that occurred 20 years after we did this. So I think it's great. Certainly, I'm very grateful that I spent my childhood that way.
I think it just tells people that they can go out there and do it, with a hard work and a lot of passion, a lot of creativity. Follow your dreams. It's possible.
Is there anything else you'd like to say to the future filmmakers?
Don't let anybody tell you no, and finish your film, because had we not, this would have been a box of videotapes in somebody's basement, and we wouldn't be standing here in Man's Chinese Theater.
Tell me about The Adaptation.
Absolutely. It took us 7 years. We started when we were 12 years old. We finished when we were 19. We had no idea what we were getting into. I think we would have been scared to death had we known. But yeah, we stuck with it, and I directed it. And as attention to details really, really important to me. So when people say, "Hey, you guys really nailed that," that's extraordinarily satisfying.
About the project, we have used it to educate and inspire, to raise money for charity and nonprofit, to educate young kids about what they can do. It inspires people all over the world, all over the country, and it's brought us back together as friends and business partners and writing partners to do what we love most, which is to write and make movies. And so all pluses I see.
Could you have thought of doing anything else during your 7 years when you were making this film, or was that the only thing on your minds?
Well, needless to say, we weren't normal kids. We certainly were obsessive. We just liked making movies. That's what we did, and that was our playtime, as opposed to playing sports or drinking beer or anything like that. We just liked playing in the movies, and making up stuff and playing in front of the camera, and that was our thing.
And Chris, if you could just give me a brief synopsis of what your accomplishment is.
Accomplishment? Well, I think this sort of second chapter that it's opened up, one of the most flattering things, and I think it takes me back to that childhood moment, which is a lot of people say that I kind of nailed Harrison, and that is like the ultimate, because that's all I really wanted to do was play Indiana Jones and pull it off, and people people enjoy it, and so that's exciting for me. This whole event here, John Hampton Productions, Wahoo's Fish Tacos, and tons of other incredible sponsors have put this event on for us in association with the charity Festival of Children, and that's something that we are incredibly honored to be associated with.
Let it go.
Eli, what can you tell me is the most captivating thing about this film?
This tape, I had this tape for years. A friend of mine gave it to me, and it was sitting on my shelf, and I took it to a film festival in Texas and put it on with an audience of 200 people, and everybody went crazy for it. And then I had this meeting at DreamWorks, and it was my first meeting because it was after Cabin Fever had sold, and I thought, I can't not bring this tape. And I brought the tape, and I said, I have nothing to do with this tape, but you've got to see this. I think Steven Spielberg would love it. And then they called me a week later and said, Steven loved it, he wants to get in touch with the guys, and I tracked them down through the internet, and now here we are. I mean, watching this tape, you feel the pure love of movies, that kind of love that you really felt as a child. And not only that, it combines that feeling of, I want to be Indiana Jones. When you're a kid and you wish you could do these things, these kids actually did it. And they almost die over and over and over. I mean, this whole tape is one big, do not try this at home. But they're literally lighting their home on fire, they're lighting themselves on fire, they're dragging themselves under trucks, all to get that shot. And I know what that's like. When I was a kid, I was doing that with Texas Chainsaw Massacre. We would run live chainsaws and not tell my parents and say, oh, no, it was off. But we were doing that. We were almost cutting our arms off, but it was all just to get that one shot.
With the rise of fan and amateur filmmaking, especially on the internet, what do you think this brings to or takes away from the art of filmmaking?
I think that this reaffirms, if anything, this Raiders movie will reaffirm your faith in filmmaking. You know, you see a lot of things on YouTube. Now, if you made a movie like this, you'd put it on the internet in 2 seconds, but you know, 20 years ago, you'd have to copy the tape and it would go tape to tape, and you had to know someone. So when you watch a movie like this, it makes you feel like you're not alone. You go, I really watch this. They feel like such kindred spirits because we're about the same age. We all went to the movies and saw Raiders. It's just I was doing this exact same thing in the suburbs of Boston, but with horror movies, what they were doing. But we just felt it really shows you, makes you feel like you're not alone, that there's someone else who obsessively loves this movie as much as you do. It's a wonderful feeling.
Indiana Jones seems like the most human action hero. So with the rise of superhero films in recent years, do you think there's still a place for Indy?
I think there'll always be a place for Indy. I mean, I think what made Indy so great was that he was a regular guy, and he was flawed, and he was just so cool. And I think the scene that made there's so many scenes that made you love Indiana Jones, but the scene where the guy comes out, you know, and the guy's flashing all these knives, and Harrison Ford just turns and shoots him, it's exactly what everyone else in the audience would have done. And apparently when they shot that, it was 110 degrees and he was just too hot to fight the guy. But that one action where he just turns and shoots the guy and then just looks back, that's what made everyone fall in love with the character. I mean, the spiders and the boulders, you think, God, I'd love to be able to do that. But when he turns and shoots that one guy, I just remember the audience. You'd never seen an action hero do that. You're always expecting the big fight, and he just shot him.
Now I know you're a young director, and you've helped out these kids who are now adults who are also on the lot as a judge. So what is it that makes you want to help younger people become filmmakers?
Well, I feel so fortunate in my career. I felt like I worked really hard to get to where I am, but there's a lot of luck involved and timing, and I feel like fans have been very supportive of me. And the truth is that I grew up in Boston with no connections in film, and every movie I've made, I've raised the money myself. I've really put it together by hand. You know, nothing was ever handed to me. So when I see another filmmaker trying to do that, I have all the respect in the world for them, and I am more than happy to offer any secrets, advice, share my experiences, because there's stuff that nobody teaches you, that's things that really can't be taught. And that person might not necessarily have the same experience, but I feel like if they can learn from the mistakes I've made, more power to them. I have the utmost respect for anyone who really goes out there and makes a film.
And Chris Strompolis, we are watching Maximo TV.
Hi, I'm Eli Roth, and you're watching Maximo TV.